This is the NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080 Ti, which many consider to be the greatest video card ever made. And this particular unit is the EVGA FTW3, which many also consider to be one of, if not the best versions of this video card ever made. So if you're watching this video, I don't believe that this video card needs any introduction to you. You know what this is. But on the basics, this was released early 2017, March of 2017. It has 11 gigabytes of VRAM. The previous version had 8. The 1080 had 8, but these had 11 gigabytes of video RAM. This particular version is actually interesting. I don't get a lot of pre-overclocked, and this one's actually fairly highly overclocked. It's got, looking at the specs on it, it's overclocked on the base clock almost 100 megahertz, and on the boost clock just a little over 100 megahertz, which, I mean, occasionally I'll see ones with 10, 15 megahertz, that kind of thing, but this is actually fairly substantial. As you can see in the video, the cooler is very beefy. This is a very substantial cooler on this GPU. As you're going to see once we start jumping into the gaming, it keeps it very cool. I don't know if this GPU ever got repasted or received new thermal pads. I'm going to assume it didn't, but it does perform pretty well. So as you can see, we are looking at the fairly standard complement of ports. So you've got your 3 display ports and your HDMI, which, you know, I don't know. It was nice for a while seeing a few cards with the 2 HDMIs, but as somebody that runs high-end monitors now, for the most part, having all... if it were my choice in 2025, I would take all display ports. So I kind of wish video cards went that direction, because you can adapt from that to anything. And then, as you can see, it does have a fairly beefy set of power requirements. So you've got a pair of 8-pin PCI Express. EVGA recommends a minimum of a 600-watt power supply. This is probably sufficient. Taking into account the power requirements of the other systems the other components in a system that you would have used this in, it's probably sufficient. Maybe a few people might benefit from going up to 1,000, but I bet 600 is going to be enough for most people. So anyway, we'll watch a little more of the visuals here. It's a very pretty card, so, you know, I'm sure you guys like watching that stuff. And then we will jump into our kind of our rundown on how we're going to do the testing. And then we will... Oh, look, I didn't even notice the OC button there before looking at this video. That's funny. But anyway, we'll jump into the gaming and see how it runs. Okay, so as you saw already, we've got something special here today. So this was an unexpected pickup I made a couple of weeks ago. I got a very good deal on this GPU. I paid $50 for this. Although to those who say, oh my God, I can't find that, I do see these deals from time to time. It's the second 1080 Ti I've gotten in that price range. So you have to watch for them. Sometimes you get lucky, you find someone that just doesn't care that much. They're not out to get every last dollar they can. And I got lucky. This was one of those circumstances. So I picked up the GPU and gosh darn it. I got my phone running the remote app for the camera. So card is in perfect condition. So you've got your EVGA 1080 Ti. Yeah, it doesn't... there we go. Okay, that helps. It's right in front of me now, but It's the 1080 Ti FTW3, which was the highest end standard version of the 1080 Ti that they sold, EVGA. They did sell one higher version. No, I guess they might have done a classified and a Kingpin. I didn't look. So I guess technically this would have been the upper mid-range version of the GPU. It's the highest end version most people would have bought. I think they had a blower, a basic style 2-fan configuration, similar aesthetic to this, but 2 fans. And then they had this 3-fan version, which was really the version people wanted. I kind of wish I had the box for it. The box is kind of a cool looking box, but unfortunately, usually I don't get boxes with the GPUs, so it is what it is. It still runs, as you're going to see when we do games, it still runs quite cool. I was actually really impressed with how cool it ran. So let's set this over here for a minute. And so let's take a look at this. So keeping with how I normally do my testing on the GPUs. So the purpose of these tests and this type of content is to see how good was it. We're not seeing how good is it. Well, we are seeing how good is it today, but we're seeing how good is what it was then. How good is that still today? Not how good is it if we juice it up with a modern, CPU that's 10 times faster than what you could get in the day. That's not the goal. So I try to test with period specific hardware. So in this case, we've got an X299. So the GPU came out in 2017, and X299 came out in 2017. This particular X299 CPU, I believe, was late 2017 or early 18, so it would have been fairly contemporary with what people would have used 1080 Ti's with this setup. So this is a i9 9820X with 32 gigs of RAM, and then we're running the 11 gig 1080 Ti. It is a fairly high-end variant. We've got an ASUS X299 Sage, which is their workstation board. I've got 4 8 gig Trident Z, I think it's Trident Z Neo DDR4 sticks, fairly good RAM. We are running an M.2, although most of the games are going to be running off of the hard drive. I believe I have a, is it here? Yes, it is. This one has a 14 terabyte Western Digital RED in it. So I am running the games off a drive, but it is a fast, capable drive. It's not an ancient, slow drive. Liquid cooler on the CPU. Kind of see it there. That's the thing for that. I think I used a 360 millimeter NZXT. I think it's an NZXT Kraken X73 or something like that. Full load of these Corsair. I think they called those HD 120s. So they were, if you ever saw the marketing material for the 1000D, those were the fans. They've got the individual LEDs so you can see them. They're not diffused. I'm not a huge fan of the look, but the computer looks cool when it's running, so yeah, whatever. Most people will tell you, the RGB is stupid anyway, so whatever. I had them on hand. Corsair is a good fan, so I used them. It's like, whatever. So when we jump into the games, I'm not going to do as many games on this as I normally do. And the reason for that is because this one, my goal was really to show how good it runs on modern high-end stuff. When you see it run Cyberpunk or like Jedi Survivor, games like that are really known to be system-demanding games, you're going to see it. It would have been pointless for me to test on games from older generations. It would have been pointless for me to try to run Assassin's Creed Odyssey or I don't know, some of the old Call of Duties, Infinite Warfare, stuff like that. Those games just wouldn't push the system very hard compared to what it's capable of. I mean, it'd be cool to show them in 4K. Hey, it can do 4K. But I really wanted to show just how good this still is, especially considering I'm not running some insane juiced up 13th, 14th, 9800X 3D, something like that. I'm just running an old 9th gen X299. So let's jump into the testing, show you you know, what the sucker can do, and just have a little bit of fun with it. This is Cyberpunk 2077. So taking a look at our settings, so I did this one kind of a little different than normal. So we're running 1080p, and we're running FSR 3, but with the actual, I believe what this is, if I know this right, this is with the upscaling itself turned off, but I turned on the frame gen. And then everything else is totally maxed out. So I think it looks pretty good. I'm not really seeing any artifacting related to the frame gen. Nothing particularly noticeable anyway. Especially considering the hardware that we're running. I mean, all things considered, there's just nothing here that's bad enough that would make you not want to do this, in my opinion. And this is, I mean, and you could certainly run it at a higher resolution, say 1440p or even 4K, turning the settings down. But we are looking at this from the standpoint of a basically competent, fairly maxed out 1080p experience on most of these games. And I actually think that I've got a good 1080p 27-inch. I've got a 27-inch ASUS TUF 280 hertz IPS 27-inch 1080p, and it looks good. Like, I've been using, in fact, I haven't really even been using my 4K OLED the last couple of weeks. I've really just been playing around with that ASUS 1080, and it really does look good. So it's definitely a good experience. And I would describe it as more or less the game is all there. And actually, I am running it, though, on my 4K OLED right now. And you can see kind of the little imperfections that you get when you run a game at less than the native res for the screen, but it doesn't look horrible. It looks okay. That being said, if you're going to run 1080p, I would recommend doing it on an actual 1080p monitor. It will generally look better. Even regardless of the size of the monitor you're using, like 27-inch 1080p versus 27-inch 4K, it's going to look better if you're running it on an actual 1080p monitor. And I would definitely recommend anyone looking for a budget gaming experience, I would definitely recommend going with like a high-end IPS 1080p, like a 240 hertz, something like that. And it'll look good. It's not going to look bad. But this gives you a pretty solid idea. Cyberpunk is just so optimized at this point. There's just so many different directions you can go with how you want to run. But I definitely like the ability to run the frame gen without upscaling. I think it's a good feature to have, and I think in this case it really hits the nail. So anyway, that should give you guys a pretty good idea of what we're looking at on Cyberpunk. And yeah, it should give you an idea of what to expect. Okay, so this is the next, shall I say, ultra demanding game that we're going to be looking at. This is Hogwarts Legacy. So, looks like I forgot to load our overlay here. We want to see how many frames it's running, don't we? Okay, it'll pop up in a second. It takes a second to load. Hopefully. But let's take a look. So, looking at our settings, we are running 1080p output. We are running the AMD FSR3 quality, which is the smallest amount of scaling. And then we are running AMD frame generation. Oh yeah, there's our frame. Okay. So, and then taking a look at our settings, I did put it at high. It was more or less able to run at ultra. Is it ultra? Yeah, ultra. But I occasionally had dips in frame rate, and I found that the high setting didn't really show much difference in actual visual quality. So we, oops, am I doing what I think I'm doing here? So we're gonna go to, was it Hogsmeade? So that's always what people want to see, because apparently there's more performance required to run that. So we're gonna run over there. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. I know there's a lot of people that have the I don't want fake frames view, that kind of thing. And you know what? That's totally valid when you're playing on high-end hardware. So I totally understand if you're running on, I don't know, a 9800X3D with a 5070 Ti. Okay, I get it. You've got a, I don't know, a brand new, you know, $1,500, $2,000 computer, and you don't want that. But this is older hardware. So we're running, I mean, a 1080 Ti, that's a GPU that came out in 2017, right? Like, so I think using all of these technologies to our advantage to be able to get a playable experience on a modern demanding game like this is exactly what you want to do. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we can run the ultra setting. And also, it's worth mentioning, as I usually do, because people usually tend to care about it, we are running off of a hard drive here too. So you may see occasional minor stutters that I'm guessing are probably more related to the drive. But it's not really affecting it. It's pretty good. It is a fast, modern hard drive. It's an 18. Is this an 18? What do I have in here? No, it's not. It's not even a fast, modern drive. No, come to think of it, this is an old, like 2013, 2014 dated. It's gonna let me up. There we go. It's like an old 2013, 2014 dated, like 3 or 4 terabyte drive. So actually, no, it's not even one of my modern high performance drives. Oh wait, no, I lied. Okay, no, it's not one of my new ones, but I think it's a 14 terabyte Western Digital Red, actually. Come to think of it, yeah, so this one has the 14 terabyte Western Digital Red in it. So it's a solid, like, 2019, 2020 gen drive, something like that. So it's a decent drive. I forgot what computer this was. I forgot we weren't testing on the 4th gen. So this is pretty good. Let's, that's better than I expected. So let's push it up to, what am I doing here? Let's push it up to ultra settings. I don't think it's gonna make any difference. Probably gonna drain the frame rate, but I don't know. I don't really see the difference. It is worth mentioning. Oh, look at all that RAM usage. Oh my God. Wow. I didn't notice that before. That's really something. The system does have 32 gigs of RAM, so we're fine. I hadn't expected that. That's interesting. But supposedly Hogsmeade is where like that's where people always say, "Oh, go to Hogsmeade" when I'm demonstrating these. So here we are. We went to Hogsmeade, and I mean, it seems to be. I mean, it seems to be running fine. So, what are we dropping down? How low are we going to drop? I'm not sure what's actually driving that drop in frame rate there. It's kind of weird. Okay, well, anyway, that gives you an idea on Hogwarts Legacy. If you're using the upscaling and the frame gen tech, this gives you an idea of what kind of experience you're going to have. This is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. So, looking at these games that I deem to be among the most demanding modern games, it's really hard to say which one is truly the most demanding. Like, it's not like it was in the past where you could just say, okay, Cyberpunk, that's the one. A lot of these games, they've come a long way. This can't be good. What are we doing here? I don't even know what I'm doing here. Oh, I killed it. Huh. Well, that was easier than it should have been. So, yeah, so it's hard to say, but definitely, definitely Jedi Survivor is really high up on that list, which is why we're looking at it. Oh, look, destructible plants. So this is pretty good. We're playing at medium settings. Just a sec, I'll pull it up. So take a look at the settings. We're at, I think I put it on either low or medium. Let me see here. Yeah, I had it at medium, then I changed it to low. I'm going to change it back to medium again just because it didn't seem to help the frame rate that much. We are running at the quality preset on the FSR2, which I really wish they would put in FSR3, but whatever. It's interesting, it usually takes it a second to start redoing the upscaling.
Come on out. Get out. Your optics active. Impressive defense. Pretty quick. Hey, who are you?
Yeah, so it is absolutely in the range of playable. And this is actually, this is the one game that a few years ago I would have said, or a year ago, I would have said, you're not playing this on a 1080 Ti, not really. But today, they appear to have fixed most of the performance issues, and it's definitely doable now. So, oh, that thing's deploying robots. Forgot those do that. So I think that gives you a good idea. So anyway, that was Jedi Survivor on the GTX 1080 Ti. This is Horizon Zero Dawn. So let's take a look at our settings. So it's actually quite high. Now we are running 1080p. Clearly looking at just the starting frame rate, it could handle more than that. But that's not, I'm really doing this because I believe that the 1080 Ti in today's world, some games it's going to be able to go higher resolution, but it is effectively a competent 1080p experience. So I'm testing the games across the board at 1080p, although some of these might be able to go higher. So we have, I do not have the upscaling on. I thought I was going to need it, but I didn't. And then we have it on the ultra settings. Everything except for motion blur is turned off. I can't stand it. Let's see if there's... No, we've got the maximum anti-aliasing. Everything's maxed. So we have a maxed out, no upscaling, no frame gen, 1080p experience. So I think it's pretty impressive. Now, part of the reason why you would want to go 1080p too is that on some of these systems, performance can be a little unpredictable. And so you can have a situation where you're like Hogwarts Legacy was kind of like that, where we were running, it looked like it was great. It was running at like 120 and then suddenly we're down at 60. So certainly, I don't even know. What do I even do? Is it that button? Okay, that button. Okay, so we need... where are my regular arrows? It said I was out of ammo. Okay. That's odd. It's been a while since I played this game. I knew how to play it for a while, but... Oh, crafting! There we go, that one. Let's see here. Craft. That's how you do it. And I think I have this one set on a lower difficulty level. I didn't really want to, shall we say, get good at this game. I just want to be able to play it and get the general experience. Oh yeah, these guys always kill me on this part. Even though I have like no hit points, they still kill me. But clearly the performance is pretty solid. I'm actually impressed. I was not expecting it to run this well. I thought it was going to need upscaling, and I did not expect this. Wait, what's it doing? No idea what's happening here. Oh, I got them all. Okay, so that gives you a solid idea of what we're looking at on Horizon Zero Dawn.